All right, let's talk about how to bring AI into manufacturing, but in a way that's actually practical and gets results. We're going to break down a framework called the Industry 3.5 AI operating system. This isn't about some far-off future. It's about a clear strategy you can execute today.
So let me start by asking you a question. When you hear smart factory, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it shiny new robots, more sensors, a brand new MES system? You know, that's a really common trap. The truth is, just buying more hardware doesn't magically upgrade your factory's ability to make good decisions. And that right there is the real bottleneck we're here to talk about.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll get into what Industry 3.5 even means. Then, we'll cover the two cultural pillars you've got to have for any of this to work. We'll dive deep into the AI operating system architecture, see how it lines up with your current departments, and then, this is a big one, explore how to create a feedback loop for knowledge. And finally, we'll tie it all back to what really matters, real-world impact.
Okay, so first things first, why are we even talking about Industry 3.5? I mean, isn't everyone hyped about Industry 4.0? Why not just jump straight to that?
Well, this slide really lays it out. See, most factories today are running on a solid Industry 3.0 foundation. You've got automation, you've got incredible human know-how. Now, that Industry 4.0 vision of a completely autonomous, connected factory, it's amazing, but let's be honest, for most companies, it's a huge, impractical leap. You can't just flip a switch and get there overnight.
And that brings us to the solution, Industry 3.5. You can think of it as the essential bridge that gets you from here to there. It's a hybrid strategy that starts with what you already have. Instead of ripping everything out, it focuses on putting a system around the data, models, and decisions you're already making. And here's the most important part. The goal is to enhance your expert engineers and operators, not to try and replace them. It's about giving them superpowers.
So how do we actually build this bridge? Well, it's not just about technology. You need to get the culture right first. And that culture rests on two really powerful pillars.
Let's call them Mr. D and Mr. S. Think of Mr. D as democracy, which is all about governance. It answers the critical questions. Who owns this decision? Who's accountable if it goes wrong? Without Mr. D, your data platforms are just a bunch of pretty dashboards nobody acts on. Then you have Mr. S for science. This is all about scientific management, turning that gut feel and tribal knowledge into hard, verifiable, data-driven models using tools like SPC, DOE, and of course AI. You absolutely need both working together. One without the other just doesn't work.
Okay, so we've got the strategy, Industry 3.5, and we have the philosophy, Mr. D and Mr. S. Now, how do we actually execute on all this? That's where the AI operating system comes in. This is the real, tangible, technological framework that makes it all happen.
So the whole idea here is to take a well-structured abstract model for governance, what we're calling a workspace OS, and apply it directly to the manufacturing environment. So that root set of rules, that becomes your global agent, enforcing the high-level company policies. Those project-level rules, they become the playbook for your local agents, basically digitizing your department's SOPs. And that collaborative wiki, that becomes the heart of the system, your central manufacturing knowledge brain.
And this slide really makes it all click. It shows you exactly how those philosophical ideas become real software components. Remember Mr. D, our governance guy? Well, he's embodied by the global agent. And Mr. S, the scientific method. That's executed by the skills these agents use, pulling data from your ERP, your MES, or running statistical analyses. That idea of a central digital brain becomes the enterprise knowledge brain. And the distributed decision system is brought to life through all these different department workspaces and their specialized local agents.
Okay, this is where the rubber really meets the road. I mean, all this architecture is great, but how do we make it work with the company structure you actually have today?
And the approach here is incredibly practical. You just map your existing departments one-to-one to digital workspaces. The manufacturing team gets a manufacturing workspace, quality assurance gets a QA workspace, procurement gets theirs. It's that simple. And the strategic value here is massive, because each workspace can operate with autonomy, using its own specialized agents and skills, but they all have to follow the global rules set from the top. It's decentralized execution with centralized governance, the best of both worlds.
The whole thing works because you have two different kinds of AI agents. First, you've got the global agent. Think of it as the air traffic controller for the entire company. It sets the rules of the road, manages security, and controls access to big systems like your ERP. Then you have the local agents. These are your specialists.
They live and breathe inside a single department's workspace, like a scheduling agent for manufacturing or an AD reporting agent for quality. They are the ones on the ground getting things done based on that department's specific playbook.
All right, now we get to what is, in my opinion, the most powerful part of this entire system. It's about creating a true organizational memory. How do we make sure that the company actually learns from every single win and every single mistake?
The answer is the enterprise knowledge brain. And look, this is not just some shared folder on a server. It's a living, version-controlled repository. It is the single source of truth for everything your company knows how to do. So when that brilliant engineer solves a really tough problem, that solution doesn't just stay stuck in their head or buried in an email. No, it gets documented here where it becomes a reusable asset for literally everyone in the company.
And this is how that knowledge actually flows through the system. So, a problem happens on the line. A local agent helps the team pull all the relevant data and analyze it. They implement a solution. They track the results, and then, this is the most important step, the entire story. The problem, the data, the solution, and the measured outcome, all of it flows back into the knowledge brain. This closes the loop. It means a lesson learned today in QA can actually help inform manufacturing schedules tomorrow. It's a true learning cycle.
So let's wrap this up by talking about the only thing that really matters to the business: results. After all this, how do we actually know if it's working?
This quote says everything you need to know. The goal is not to adopt AI. Seriously, that's not a goal. The goal is to see real, tangible, measurable improvement in your core business metrics. The technology is just a tool to get you there. It's the means, not the end.
And these are the metrics that matter. We call it QDSC: quality, delivery, safety, and cost. This is the universal scorecard for any manufacturing operation. Any investment you make in a system like this has to be judged by its ability to move the needle on these 4 pillars. Did we reduce our defect rate? Did we improve on-time delivery? Did we make the floor safer? Did we lower our costs? That's the test.
And here's the ultimate payoff. What this architecture gives you is that missing link. It creates a transparent, traceable, auditable line right from the action of a local agent, like reoptimizing a production schedule, all the way up to its impact on your main QDSC dashboard. It directly connects the tactical, on-the-ground execution to the high-level strategic outcomes. No more guessing.
So that leaves us with one final, powerful thought to consider. Instead of just ending the day by asking what your team accomplished, this framework lets you ask a much more powerful question. What did our enterprise's digital brain learn today? And that right there is the shift from just doing work to building a true learning organization that gets smarter day after day.